What up, guys? How is everybody doing? Just witnessed, poor performance from Seattle tonight. Still was entertained by the game. Jacob Eason, guy from Washington, went to Georgia, the number one overall quarterback recruit. He got some time for Seattle, but, overall, like Arcega-Whiteside could have had a score. Geno Smith did not move the team whatsoever, and the tackling maybe was a little bit better, but the offense was just putrid. So Drew Lock really has an opportunity coming up, I believe, if this is a fair competition. By not playing, he actually was immune from just a terrible performance by the entire, Seattle team. And now Chicago, they take preseason very serious. It's a first-year coach. So Chicago, they're guns blazing with their guys. And, they had a very successful game. I mean, the first game, Seattle, other than terrible tackling, Seattle was right there with Pittsburgh. So it is preseason. It is, a young team playing a home opener on national television off of like 3 days rest. So that is Seattle. But overall, Drew Lock is right in the thick of it in this quarterback competition. If they start him against the Cowboys, he can win the competition, so it's very exciting. It's frustrating to hear guys on the broadcast mention Jimmy Garoppolo because they're just disregarding Drew Lock, who started several games for the Denver Broncos, and it's not even like this team has the talent of maybe defensively like the Cleveland Browns, where the Browns have been with Baker Mayfield. They've been competitive in their division for several years. Now you look at, Seattle, and I guess with Russell Wilson, you could say, oh, well, they won the division, 2 years ago? But they're totally remaking this defense. And this is a very young defense, and they're remaking it completely. And they're acquiring draft picks, so they're in a rebuild. So even acquiring a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, how much better is Garoppolo going to be than Drew Lock? And Drew Lock even has a higher upside. He has more velocity on the football than Jimmy G. He could probably move just as good as Garoppolo. Now, his decision-making isn't as great. And also Jimmy G has just won at a very high level. Jimmy G has that competitive edge to him. I mean, if this team was ready to compete for real, aspirations, of course they are. Seattle is, of course, competing for real aspirations of winning the NFC West. But I think you let Drew Lock, who's been in the system, I really think you give him an opportunity. You kind of know who Garoppolo is. Garoppolo's 31, Drew Lock's 25. So I'm a big Drew Lock fan, and you kind of see how this offense is going to roll. They didn't really play their starters, Lockett and Metcalf in this game. So overall, Seattle fans will panic. People on social media are panicked. But again, you're not going to remember this preseason game when regular season ball gets kicked around. But again, in the quarterback battle for some of these position groups as well, nobody really solidified their role tonight. It was an ugly night. The Bears at one point were up like 17-0 in this contest with like Simeon, Peterman, Velus Jones. Who else were they trotting out at the running back spot? I mean, Thompson had some flash plays. DJ Dallas is a guy from Miami that, I think is going to see some touches this year for Seattle. Who else on Chicago really flashed in this contest? I mean, they had like this backup running back that had some good gains, but overall, nobody really took a big step in this battle. And actually, Drew Lock, by not playing, he still is very much in the thick of it because the offense was so bad. You could even say that Drew Lock, by not playing, he might have even had the most successful night because that's how awful, the offense rolled with Geno. It was tons of 3-and-outs. It was ugly football, penalties, missed throws, throwing behind guys, tripping over the running back's shoes. So it was just a downright just terrible performance from the Seahawks team, and they were getting blown out in this preseason game, which is week 2. But again, 3 days rest. None of the starters really out there on the offensive side of the ball with the receivers. The defense is going to be young. It's going to go through its lumps with Pete, but it's going to get better as the year goes along. And, they're just trying to get guys acclimated right now to that side. So it looks like a little bit of a rebuild on defense, but the offense should be better. And, again, you can improve throughout the season. So it's just preseason. I don't think the Bears are going to be world beaters either. But for the sake of this competition and competition slots where preseason really matters, it's up for grabs at tons of positions, including the quarterback spot.